Driving off that yard was like the best day of my life. It was a huge relief. My name is Shari and I'm from Carmen, Manitoba currently. I was referred to Genesis House by social services who had come to our home because my ex-husband reported me. After talking to the kids and talking to myself, they told me that, this is an abusive situation. We don't like how you're being treated. We don't like how your kids are being treated. Do you want to get out of here? And I said, yeah, but I have no idea how. I have nothing. I'm stuck here because I felt trapped. I didn't feel like I had any other option and nothing was ever changing. And it was always me that had to be better and had to be perfect, but he could just stay the same. And they said, here are numbers to women's shelters and you need to call them and you need to get out of here, you and the kids. So I called Genesis House and someone answered and talked to them for quite a while and they set us up and made room for us there. And driving off that yard was like the best day of my life. It was a huge relief. It was like, I never have to come back here. I don't have to face this anymore. I don't have to deal with this anymore. When we first walked through the doors, it was a little scary. We didn't know what to expect when we first got to the shelter. My family had come up to help us move out, and we expected them to be able to come in with us and settle us in and stuff, and that wasn't the case. We had to leave them at the door and say our goodbyes, and there was a lot of tears, and it was a little bit scary walking away from them, walking away from that support system that they'd been. And now we're on our own. But the counselors at Genesis House were incredible and they were so welcoming and settled us in and let us rest and get our bearings, so to speak. And yeah, they were just fantastic. We started out with counseling, group and private sessions, which was great. Especially one counselor that was there kind of, I don't know if adopted me in a way. She was the one that I started really looking to for advice and for guidance, and she really helped, especially with the initial, the anger and the bitterness that you have when you leave, because it doesn't stop even though you've left. And for me, it got uglier. And she was the one that kind of, guided me on what was the right way to deal with it, what was the right way to deal with the kids with it, especially how to talk to the kids about the whole situation, especially with one of my twins, Allie, was diagnosed as autistic about 2 years before we left. And she had all these quirks and social anxieties, and she wouldn't let go of mom for years. And we actually got special permission to bring her service dog in training with us. And she did a complete 180. Like, she didn't need the dog anymore. She was playing on her own. She was interacting with people like she'd never done before. And within about 2 weeks, the counselors came to me and they said, I think you need to get her reevaluated because Allie is not autistic. Not at all. We think this is like coping mechanisms from anxiety and stress. And it was just like, wow, the changes in those kids. Because for the first time, they were allowed to have friends. They could go out and play with other kids. They could go outside and play and scream. I remember them playing outside in the backyard at Genesis House and sitting out there with them. And they're going up and down the jungle gym and the slide and swinging, and they're yelling and running around. And they were just allowed to be kids for the first time and not worry about anything else and just be kids. We were actually there from July 10th to August 29th, so we were there almost 2 months. It was good to see that it wasn't just me. I wasn't crazy. These things really did happen. Unless you're dealing with it and you're in it, you really don't understand what it's like. Those women get it. And that was the biggest thing that I took too from the counselors, is that they've been there too. They're not just counseling you from an outside perspective. They know exactly what you've gone through and the emotions that you're feeling. That is the most encouraging part of it, is that you see them too and you go, they did this. I can do this and I can be better for it in the end. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she's 16 now, and she especially has kind of jumped on the advocacy boat with me. She's done some speeches in school, and she came up with the idea to do the leather purple ribbons, and she wanted to sell them in school and raise awareness and raise money for Genesis House. She's been an inspiration to me, even. Since I've left, I've become a lot more vocal about it, because coming out of the shelter, when you're there, you see how little acknowledgement there is for domestic abuse of any kind. When it's something like emotional abuse, you don't have that tangible proof of outward bruises and broken bones and things like that, and it's still just as real. And if you're not in it, you don't completely understand. And instead of asking, why didn't she leave, we need to turn around and say, why was he doing that? Why was he treating her that way in the first place? What made him think that that was okay? And the more light you bring to something, to an issue, the more accountability that has to start happening. And there's going to become a need for more places like Genesis House, or bigger places like Genesis House. I think the work that they're doing to try and bring more light to it is amazing. And I'm really hoping that more people will start stepping up. If that starts with me and my 16-year-old daughter, then that's where it's got to start. You know, one person can make a difference in a community.